March 23, 2026. The Middle East is at war, and the world is on edge. The conflict between the United States, Israel, and Iran has shattered economies and left millions in fear. Every headline and statement from world leaders sends shockwaves, testing the foundations of our interconnected world. This is more than a regional conflict. It's a turning point in modern history with global stakes. Oil prices are soaring, lives are lost, and families from Tehran to Tel Aviv are caught in the crossfire. As chaos unfolds, the world watches, desperate to know what happens next. To understand the present crisis, we must look at how we arrived at this perilous moment. On February 28, 2026, the fragile peace in the Middle East shattered. The US and Israel launched a massive airstrike campaign against Iran, targeting military bases, missile factories, and key leadership. This was no warning shot. It was the start of open war. Iran responded within hours, unleashing ballistic missiles at Israel and Gulf states, instantly widening the conflict. Israeli air defenses intercepted many, but not all, as the region plunged into chaos. U.S. allies in the Gulf were also hit, forcing them into the conflict. The first day set a brutal precedent: strike and counterstrike, with devastation spreading rapidly. The firestorm had begun, threatening to consume the region. 4 weeks in, the war has become a relentless cycle of violence. Over 8,000 targets in Iran have been struck by U.S. and Israeli forces, crippling infrastructure but not breaking Iran's resolve. Iran has fired over 400 missiles at Israel. Some have breached defenses, causing casualties and panic. The conflict has drawn in Hezbollah, Hamas, and Iranian-backed militias in Iraq and Syria, opening multiple fronts. American military reinforcements are pouring into the region, signaling preparation for a long conflict. President Trump denies plans for a ground invasion, but the buildup tells another story. The region is on high alert, with every nation bracing for escalation. The war's next phase could be even more destructive and unpredictable. The war's most profound global impact: a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, halting a third of the world's oil supply. Over 3,000 ships are stranded. Iran vows the strait will stay closed until its infrastructure is rebuilt. Oil prices have soared past $111 a barrel, triggering a global economic shock. Natural gas supplies have plummeted, threatening a severe energy crisis as winter approaches. The human toll is mounting. Thousands dead in Iran, Lebanon, and Gaza as violence spreads. Nations scramble to adapt. The U.S. temporarily lifts sanctions on Iranian oil at sea to ease the crisis. Fuel prices spike worldwide, and governments issue global security alerts. The fallout is now a global phenomenon, touching every corner of the world. Amid crisis, President Trump announces productive conversations with Iran and postpones new airstrikes. Markets react instantly. Oil prices drop, stocks rally, and hope flickers for de-escalation. Treasury Secretary Bessent frames the air campaign as a tactic to force Iran to negotiate. The White House claims overwhelming force has created conditions for peace. For the first time in weeks, the world glimpses a possible diplomatic breakthrough. Trump projects confidence, suggesting a deal is within reach. But the world waits for confirmation. Was this hope real, or just another twist in the fog of war? Optimism fades as Iran's leaders swiftly deny any talks with the U.S., calling Trump's claims propaganda. Tehran accuses Washington of manipulating markets and buying time, not seeking peace. The world is left with two irreconcilable narratives: secret diplomacy or political theater. Observers question who to believe. Are talks happening, or is this a calculated move by both sides? The information war is as fierce as the military conflict, with truth becoming a casualty. Deep mistrust and animosity define U.S.-Iran relations, making peace elusive. If the sides can't agree on basic facts, a negotiated end seems distant. The battle over narratives shapes the conflict as much as missiles and bombs. Israel pursues its own strategy, independent of U.S. decisions, aiming to eliminate Iran as a strategic threat. Netanyahu insists Israel acts for its own security, not at America's behest. Even as the U.S. hints at diplomacy, Israel intensifies strikes on Iranian targets. The divergence in tactics raises questions about coordination and the war's endgame. On Israel's northern border, Hezbollah launches relentless attacks, turning towns into ghost zones. Israeli airstrikes target Hezbollah and Hamas in Lebanon, escalating the northern front. Military planners walk a tightrope, deterring Hezbollah without provoking all-out war. The northern front adds another layer of volatility to an already explosive conflict. The world faces three possible futures. First, genuine de-escalation. Secret talks succeed, leading to a ceasefire and reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Second, a grinding war of attrition. No real talks, just endless strikes, missile attacks, and economic pain. Third, a catastrophic regional war. Miscalculation or escalation draws in more countries, risking global conflict. The situation is fluid. A single decision in Washington, Tehran, or Jerusalem could tip the scales. The gap between rhetoric and reality is wide, and the risk of misinterpretation is immense. The world can only hope leaders choose the narrow path of de-escalation. The fate of millions hangs in the balance. In this crisis, clear information is as vital as military strength. The war is fought with missiles and with narratives, propaganda, and denials. Citizens must question official stories and seek reliable sources to understand the truth. The outcome affects global stability, economies, and personal security everywhere. Real peace will require courageous diplomacy and relentless pursuit of dialogue. International pressure and calls for ceasefire must be amplified to end the suffering. The first step toward peace is a shared commitment to truth and the vigilance to demand it.